Welcome back, everyone, to the Ragtag podcast. Episode Trace. That is for all those people who speak French, and if you don't, that's three. Um,
Sold.
we're here. We're here today. It's a little bit lighter out. We came out of our caves. I know the sunlight.
Ah!
It looks like his flowers won't die in the back there.
Nah. See, they're getting good light today, some good photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
We love to see
Uh,
it.
oh yeah, I am actually a plant myself.
Oh, you're a plant yourself.
Yeah, I'm a
What kind of
tree.
plant are you? Oh, you're a
Eh,
tree.
Yeah, if I could be any tree, I would probably be cedarwood.
Cedarwood? Okay, I
Yeah.
think I'd be a fir because people build a lot of things out of fir. So, like, I'd want to be a building. I'd want to be like, yeah, I'm getting used like for daily, and
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't want to be just a tree that ends up like a piece of paper or something.
true. I think it's like a Douglas fir, and you'd be like, I'll be in everyone's home,
I mean,
as a Christmas tree.
exactly. Until Christmas is over and then I'm on the curb. So.
Yeah. Usually, I throw mine out into my woods, and then it just decomposes.
See, I
Yeah.
do the same with my bodies. I didn't say that.
We're not here to incriminate ourselves.
Right.
We're here to talk about different stuff that we might like, and I think an interesting topic, especially because today is Sunday as we're recording this,
Right.
March 12th, 2023, and today is the finale for the Last of Us series that
What
has been coming out.
a show.
It fantastic. I'm glad that they adapted it into a TV show. The last one actually got it was episode 8. Their last one's gonna be 9 today, but
Okay.
it got 8.2 million viewers for
Wow.
the premiere. Um, and for any of you who don't know, it comes out on Sundays at 9 p.m. So I mean, it'll already be out by the time that comes out. But go watch it on HBO Max.
Definitely.
Not sponsored, but please sponsor us. Um,
Please.
but along with that, there's a lot of different video games that people want to see and that are also being put in develop for
Yeah.
TV shows, movies, other forms of media besides video games. Um, and I have a few, lists. I like to get your opinion on it.
Sure.
Um, now these are all from PlayStation. Now PlayStation's putting this in act because they have their own studio that they're making up.
Right.
I'm not sure if you ever heard of Twisted Metal. Have you ever played that when you're
I have not. I know I've seen that like scrolling the PlayStation Store. And I know I've seen like it's like one of those like critically acclaimed games. But I've
yeah.
never actually taken some time. I know in Rocket League they ran a mashup where you can like unlock the Twisted Metal truck in Rocket League. So that is about as far as my Twisted Metal knowledge goes.
Quick rundown. It's about a bunch of killer clowns that drive like basically like Death Race. Have you ever heard the movie Death Race?
I don't think I have heard of that either. I'm
Okay, well,
really bringing it down.
it's all right. Death Race is a movie. Well, it has Jason Statham in it, but it's like these prisoners. If they want to escape prison, they basically go in. They make these crazy cars, and they just race to the death, and then whoever lasts gets to get out of prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
almost like that, but with clowns, and you're just roaming the world, just like slamming into each other with like these crazy like cars you build.
Kind of sounds like
Um,
2020 to be honest with
topical joke. Let's go.
you. Let's
uh,
go.
um, that's a TV show that's going to be coming out on Peacock at some point.
Okay,
Um,
okay. I would like to point out that if you are on Peacock while you're checking that out, while you're getting excited for Twisted Metal, I did want to throw out Megan is on Peacock now, and
oh,
I did watch that the other day, and I didn't
okay.
watch the unrated version because I'm a little bit of an
Oh.
easy stomach when it comes to the gore. But I watched the PG-13 movie, and needless to say, I had to pee right after the movie was done, and I was like watching my corners, bro. Like I was ready for that little girl to just like
It's not from the extra Dr. Pibb you have, right?
no, definitely not. Speaking of which, seeing this, I went to eight stores, eight, eight stores for this.
That's crazy.
Stock this in the Northeast more. Okay, thank you.
That's fun. I heard good things about Megan.
It was very good, very good. They're already
Also,
good.
oh, I was going to say another movie that's on Peacock that I've wanted to see is Puss in Boots: Last Wish.
Oh yes, I did see that. Yeah,
Oh,
I
is it
haven't
good?
watched it. I know I haven't watched it, but I
Okay.
like saw it on Peacock when I was scrolling through.
Okay.
Um, but side note, the Megan 2 is already in production, so it
Oh,
performed so
wow.
well they already have put Megan 2 in production. But anyway, you're talking about Twisted Metal. What else are we gonna see, Josh?
Okay, yes. I'm very excited for this one because I played this game to the death of it. Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure if you heard of it or played
I've
it.
seen a lot of gameplay on that. I've never played it myself, but I've seen a lot of gameplay on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a really good game, great story. A lot of different options you can play with it.
Right.
But that is going to be turned into a movie.
Okay.
And they're actually already have the director from John Wick attached to it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. And people love the John Wick movies.
They do.
Um,
They really do.
Next one, also another one I'm very excited about is God of War, which is also in production.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be a TV show on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Okay.
Yeah.
So Prime's picking up first Thursday Night Football, now God of War. I mean, I don't know what direction they're going in, but we'll keep
Hey,
a hold for the ride.
they're getting video games, potentially football team with the Commanders. I
That's
mean,
true.
Jeff
That's
Bezos did
true.
it. Which I'm
Bezos,
very excited
please.
about it. Please, Bezos. We don't want Dan Snyder anymore. Um, yeah, I just played Ragnarok. Fantastic game. Anyone who hasn't played them, play them. They're really good. Next is the Horizon Zero franchise. I'm not sure if you've
Okay.
ever played those.
I've not played
Um,
those either. I've heard of all these games. I just
yeah.
like I'm so stuck to the intrinsic, Call of Duties, the War Zones,
Oh
the
yeah.
Fortnites, the sports games. I don't really branch that much into like these other games that I know I should.
Yeah, they're good. They're good first person storytelling. If you're into that,
Sure.
I enjoy a good game sesh by myself.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've played a little bit of the second one. I have the second one. I haven't played the first one yet, but they're gonna make a
Okay.
Netflix series out of it at
Nice.
some point. Um, and then Gran Turismo, the racing game that they've had for a long time. Now, I'm not sure if you remember the Need for Speed movie that came out a long time ago.
I do remember that. I don't know if I ever saw that.
Yeah, that was interesting one. They had Aaron Paul in it, the guy from Breaking Bad.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He was in that. So this is I think they're still undecided. It's supposed to be like a movie or a show. I would assume a movie.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
would
know if they
assume
could do
so.
Yeah, I don't know if they could do a whole show out of Gran Turismo, like driving Porsches and
Do
you
you think
know.
it basically at some point just becomes Gran Turismo becomes Fast and the Furious 11 because that franchise seems to never stop?
Well, apparently after 10, which is the next one coming out, it's supposed to be done, but that's just the main one. I assume they're gonna have spin-offs.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I thought it was done after like 3 or 4, but no, no, it just it wouldn't stop. We got a little Apollo in the background. What's
Yeah,
up,
it's over there.
Apollo? Um,
Take a little
no,
nap.
there's speaking of Netflix shows, highly, highly, highly and anticipating slash excited for Squid Game season 2. Still
Oh
waiting for that
yes.
to come out, but um okay, so Gran Turismo though. I wonder how they're gonna get that one. Like is it a Cars spinoff? Is it I don't I don't know about that.
They get Lightning McQueen as a cameo.
Coach Chow.
Wow.
What?
I'm in a
Yeah,
real movie.
Zach would
Uh,
actually go nuts if Lightning McQueen drove up on like an Italian superway and just was like, wow.
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 Wow, ka-chow.
Yeah.
Mater. And then I saw a Instagram post about a few other games. So I'll kind of quickly go through these. Red Dead 2. Not sure if you played that, but that's a fantastic game.
Did play that. Yep.
All right. I would love to see that. I love Westerns.
100%.
Elder Scrolls 5,
Okay. Had a couple
specifically
of friends
Skyrim.
that love that game.
Oh yeah. That'd be a great show, especially with like it being that realm of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, yeah. Would be a big
Uh,
fan base.
which are huge. Yeah, got a War Mass Effect. I know Mass Effect is a huge game. I never played it, but I know that'd be a great one. And
That's
there's a lot
true.
of dialogue.
Rumor has it that you have mass effect on women.
With these guns?
Hey!
LA Noir. Um, I haven't played that one. I've played like a few other like I think I've played I think one of the spin-offs. One of the
Okay.
spin-offs of LA Noir.
All right.
But LA Noir would be great. It's like a 20s, like set in the like Prohibition era type of thing
Okay.
in LA. um
Shocker.
what? I think that would kill as a TV show. And then finally Fallout 4.
Oh, love it. Love it. Out of all the ones you just listed, Fallout 4, like if you've ever gotten the chance to watch the movie Chernobyl,
Oh, I haven't, but I would like to.
great movie. I love like documentaries. I actually just recently started watching last night on Netflix. I watched MH370, and it's that flight that disappeared over like
Oh,
the ocean. And they still like, I mean, just like watching it and just like all the theories colliding and all that kind of stuff. I'm only on episode 2 and there's 3 episodes, but the first episode, like number one, it's a mixture between like sadness because you're sad for these families, but you're just
of
like
course.
what happened? So like I love that kind of thing. So if Fallout was like, I don't, it's not going to be documentary, but like, you know, it's going to be
No.
like radioactive, like end of the world, Armageddon. As long as they don't go too crazy with it, like, you know, a guy puts his hand in like radiation and then, you know, like, you know, just like disintegrates or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as long as they don't go too crazy, I feel like it'd be good. But if you get a chance, watch the movie Chernobyl. So
All right.
good.
Yeah. Actually, and I listened to the podcast of The Last of Us
Okay.
TV show. Just because I like the whole insight of like,
Sure.
the TV show, whatever.
Whew.
And the showrunner for bless you, sir.
Thank you.
The showrunner for that show is also the one who did Chernobyl.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And it's just interesting to hear the way he talks about, certain stuff um there's one episode where there's like a death actor in this and I think it was like episode 5. Um
Right?
it's pretty cool. They when I was listening to the podcast, they were saying how there's not a whole lot of good like it's like they wanted representation and
Sure.
it's hard to find one because they're gonna make the kid in the show of color, so black, and
Okay.
they're gonna have
Right.
so it's hard to find an actor a deaf actor who's also of color
It's
who can
also a
also
kid.
act well. Yeah, it's
Right.
also a kid that also can
Yeah.
act well. There's a whole lot of different stuff, and they said
Oh yeah.
they tried searching, they could not find anyone, and then they just like, we'll just fuck it, we'll just go to Twitter. So they went to Twitter, and
Okay.
they got a few hits, like maybe 5.
Wow.
Yeah. And then one was this kid that they ended up putting in the show, and he's actually from Maryland.
Okay.
Um, and he plays
Represent.
hockey.
I like this guy. I like this
Yeah,
guy a lot.
he's a cool kid. I recently saw because they after the episode they started blowing him up and everything like that, and it's a
Right.
great episode, really sad. And he acted very well in it. But he actually got to after the episode he got to meet Oshi. I mean, sorry,
That's
Alex Ovechkin.
oh, I know. Okay, yes, 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 yes. I saw videos of that where
Yeah,
like um it was kind of funny because the kid would like was like signing to Ovi,
yeah,
and then there's like the person like next to him like telling Ovi, and Ovi's like, oh, well, you know,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
good to watch. I did watch a couple of those videos.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, "Oh wow, that's awesome!" Because I just find out before that he played hockey and that he's from Maryland and blah blah blah. So
Oh
he's
yeah.
probably as long as he's been alive, he's probably like adored Alex Ovechkin
Oh,
and
100%.
the Capitals and everything like that. So that's awesome.
He was probably like, I'm pissing myself right now. I love it.
um, yeah. So it all comes around. Blah blah blah. I think that's great. And
Definitely.
that's some of the including that some of the games I would like to see at least turn to shows. And I think
100%.
you know, especially with like the success of Sonic and all that stuff like that, and
Right.
more will happen for
I
sure.
definitely think, I mean, Sonic already became a movie. I think they need to make more like adult Pokemon movies, like Detective Pikachu. I think Detective
Oh,
Pikachu was like a pretty good movie, and I feel
yeah, I agree.
like like Pokemon movies are just like non-existent. I think they're onto something with like the Super Mario movie. I think
Oh yeah,
that's going to be a hit. I'm going to go see that.
me too.
I think a lot of games you have opportunity, and I think like I don't know why exactly they don't take it sometimes. I guess it's hard because you don't want to piss the fan base off by like,
Of course.
making the movie a little different than the storyline or XYZ. But like I don't know, like I feel like you could like have like a Super Smash movie. You could have a Mario Kart movie where like Mario's trying to win the Grand Prix. Like I don't know,
And
like I think you have so many movie
then
opportunities.
Gran
Like
Turismo comes in.
right, yeah, and then Fast and Furious comes in, and then Lightning McQueen. Wow, yeah,
Jurassic Park. Rah.
yeah, exactly.
No, I agree because, and this is why I think I and you and a lot of people gravitate towards video games is because the storytelling in it can be so rich,
Oh,
and
100%.
it just like it pulls people in, you know.
Yeah, there are
And
sometimes.
sometimes
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, sir.
There are sometimes like I remember in like the Modern Warfare 2 campaigns and stuff like, normally in the game, like when we're playing Warzone, we don't give a crap about the cutscenes in
Of
Warzone.
course.
We're like skip, 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 and then we're all like in the party like we can't skip it. So like
Well,
the
then press
anger,
X.
right? But when it comes to like the campaigns and stuff, like you get so invested. You're like soap or like bro, it's like you get so caught up with all these like the storylines and the characters, like a Call of Duty movie. Are you kidding me? that would
Oh,
be
that'd
that
be
would be
crazy.
amazing. I'd love to see Price and Soap defending a burger town, like having it all. I don't know. It'd be
I mean,
good.
back in those days, they were hiring like actual like movie like script develop like people who actually wrote scripts for movies,
Oh,
to
for
make
the
those campaigns.
campaigns.
Yeah,
Oh
like I think
wow.
it was Black Ops 2. They
Okay.
got David S. Sawyer or something or the guy who directed I think it was The Dark Knight. Um
No
it was
way.
yeah, they were getting people like back in the day like who would like,
That's amazing.
write
And
scripts.
Dark Knight single-handedly probably still to this day the greatest movie that ever came out during that generation, and like
Oh yeah,
the greatest movie for its time, and then some. Like
I
even
agree.
the newest Batman movie, and I liked the new Batman movie a lot. I thought
Oh
it was like a
yeah.
great movie. A little long, but
Yeah.
great. But The Dark Knight was just what a piece of like movie art.
No, I agree. I mean, I remember in 12th grade, I had a sociology class, and my teacher used that movie. We watched that movie, and we had to analyze like the characters because of how
Right.
like the Joker and Batman, and because like the Joker's always like, oh, we're so connected, and
Yeah, yeah.
like without you, there's no me, blah blah
It's
blah,
it's a
and
great it's a great like connection. Your sociology teacher has got some ups for me. Also, R.I.P. Heath Ledger. What an actor.
yes,
What a
what an
man.
actor. Ah man, that I would have been crazy to see what else he could have done.
I know, honestly. And I think like from that point on, it was like the other Batman movies that came out. It's not like the one with Bane was bad, but it was like
Yeah.
just wasn't the Dark Knight. Like it was good, but the whole Steelers stadium, everything like that, I was just like, oh, come on. I mean, I was happy to see the Steelers stadium go down, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
like
I
I was
will
like,
say that was one of the toughest scenes where the guy from the kickoff return, I think, is running
yes,
it back and everything just crumbling. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty tough.
it sounds like the Commander's season, bro. I don't know.
Don't make me wheeze.
Don't make me wheeze.
And then speaking of just crumbling in a sports aspect in general, let's just talk about the NFL right now because I honestly it's kind of crumbling.
So if you're watching this, obviously the news
Breaking
just broke
news.
right before we right before we get on this podcast. The Rams trade Jalen
Yeah,
Ramsey for a third round pick and tight end Hunter Long. We're talking about now, don't get me wrong, I'm a Jalen Ramsey hater.
me
And
too.
I think he's not all that. I think he's like a average cornerback. I don't think he's like top of the game. With that being said, a third round pick and a tight end that will probably never see the field over Higbee
Of course.
is a little questionable. So if you're the Rams, I see wanting to push that salary cap off your books and get him out of here. But like, do you think you could have gotten a little more back? I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like the Rams GM should be taking a little look in the mirror and being like, we just, especially like your top
Who is
position
this man?
players. Exactly. You're looking at quarterbacks. I feel like quarterbacks, cornerbacks, and then maybe like linebackers seem to carry a lot of like value when it comes to
Yeah.
like trades like Khalil Mack and Roquan and like things like that. Like I feel like those players when they get traded, like wide receivers don't carry that much. You never see like a wide receiver go for a first round pick unless you're Eric DeCosta trading away Marquise Brown. What a pick, what a play. But like for cornerbacks, I feel like that's such an important position that if you have a good cornerback and you give them away for pennies,
Yeah.
like what you doing?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's and maybe because like, and not that this has any role into playing with like actual football, but like playing Madden, when you try to like build like a defense, and this goes with like just the whole NFL in general. It's leaned more towards pass. So those
100%.
cornerbacks are so valued, and especially like fast guys who have good play recognition. Like besides quarterback, cornerback is the toughest position in football. I
100%.
wholeheartedly. It,
Especially like you think about like pass interference and stuff like that. Like in
oh
today's
yeah,
league, these cornerbacks have to be able to cover star wide receivers without
yeah.
the tugging and the pulling, without like they can't get away with
Play recognition.
anything. They can't get away with anything. So when Jamar Chase
Yeah.
makes his cut, you've got to
Oh my god.
trust that cornerback is like on it because
Yeah.
if he's even a half a second late, Jamar Chase is gone.
Yeah. He has to keep up. He has to be fast. He has to be able to put his hands in the right position. It's a lot of different stuff. And they dictate a lot of like, especially like comebacks.
Oh yeah,
They're the biggest dictators. I think definitely the roles go like, and most important on defense is cornerback, uh, defensive ends. I think the league is shifting towards defensive ends just because they want that quick pass rush. They want guys who just blitz right towards like the
100%.
quarterback.
Well, you look at
You
like
know,
some of the most successful players, like TJ Watt, JJ Watt.
yeah,
They're technically like outside linebackers, but like
yeah,
really they end up playing defensive end a lot. Chase Young,
mm-hmm,
like you look at game changers and Trey Hendrickson's in that conversation, like
yeah,
those defensive ends that can do their job, stay home when they need to stay home, and get the like changes an entire defense because if you have a line that's so concerned about the edge, a lot of the times that's when you can get linebackers, even if they're mediocre linebackers. If you have any NFL linebacker shooting the gap,
yeah,
you have got a good chance of getting to the quarterback, stopping the run in the backfield, things like that. So creates
yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, because I feel like back in the day, or at least early 2000s, it used to be D tackles who were the stars. Like I think a lot more plays were going up the gut versus towards the outside to the pocket nowadays. With
100%.
running quarterbacks and trying to get out of the pocket and make those big deep down throws.
Right.
I don't know. That trade, and then also the Bears trade, where they got a whole lot,
They
whole
got
lot.
a haul. And I mean, it's almost comparable to like what Washington gave up to get RG3. And you
Yeah,
saw for like, I mean, after RG3 exited the league, that like hindered the Redskins for a long time.
it
How
did.
much they gave up to get RG3. And right before we got on this, dun, 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 um, I did just see that the Panthers are, if they are able to be comfortable with multiple QBs. So I saw that their number one QB is CJ Stroud.
Yeah,
Um, they really like him. Anthony Richardson's stock from the combine
Oh,
flew up.
right up.
Like, so I just saw a tweet. I don't know who it was from, that if the Panthers feel like they have two quarterbacks that they're comfortable with and they don't think that both of them are going to go, the Panthers are wide open to trading back down. So if you ask me, like, what was the point of giving away the franchise to then trade back down? Now, I
That makes
understand
no sense.
you probably might get a lot in return, but like,
Yeah.
did you literally just trade up there just to be like, like, I'm first? Like, I've never seen a team trade up to trade back down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that I don't know. I mean, like, obviously there's like a few different great candidates this year between CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, now
nobody like Lenny Ship.
Richardson, uh no one like Letty Ship. Um Levis, Richardson now, Jalen Carter, Bijan Robinson. Um, there's a lot of there's a good like top 10 guys that could easily go off the board. And it all depends on, and I know the Commanders, they're mocked to get a cornerback because we do need the help there.
Right.
Porter Jr.
Oh, yeah. Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah.
That would be a good pickup.
Yeah, and I heard that this is a good draft for cornerbacks as well. There's a few different ones that could go off the board pretty quick. So, I don't know. It's an interesting play to go up, be like, hey, we'll give up a lot if you're willing to take the top.
Just kidding. You wrote it. We got it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I saw a thing like, sure, it's one thing to get CJ Stroud, but now you got no receivers for him to throw to.
I mean, Chosen Anderson could come home. But I think the Panthers are, I saw this today too. They're saying that this draft is so talent packed that really, like, you're going to see a lot of good players going in the second round. So like Smith and Jagba, I saw that the Ravens are like truly believe he's going to like last until the second round because his stock has fallen because other people's stock has risen.
Right,
So like, I think the Panthers are just going to probably, I would assume they're going to take their second rounder and pick up a wide receiver, whoever's left at that point. But I'm excited for the draft, and I normally hate the draft. I don't really get excited. Normally, the Ravens have gotten into the playoffs, so we don't pick until like 25th.
Yeah,
it takes like 3 hours for us to get to the pick, and then they're like, the pick is in, and then it takes another 10 minutes with a whopper commercial.
Whopper.
So like the draft and the Ravens normally trade down, which
yeah, I know.
So
it's always last minute too.
They wait until it's their pick, and then they're like, the Ravens have traded out. I'm like, I just stayed up for this. So, maybe a talent-filled draft, but and a lot of quarterbacks. Gives me the vibes of when you had like what was that? There was like a group of quarterbacks a couple of years ago. I don't remember if it was the Zach Wilson group or if it was the Josh Rosen group where there was like 6 quarterbacks. It was like Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Zach. Well, I don't know. There was like one draft where it was like 6 different quarterbacks, and to see where they all like actually ended up now, it was like only one of them is good.
Yeah.
So it gives me those vibes. So speaking of quarterbacks, another as of today, Aaron Rodgers' decision is coming soon.
Up to him.
Retirement, staying in Green Bay, or going to the Jets. If you ask me, if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, I think they're going to burn down Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I think people are done with him, which is funny to see. Since he's been with that franchise forever. And the man is a Hall of Famer.
100%.
No doubting that. Our friend Zach has even expressed his opinion about getting rid of him. Even the Rap King himself, Wheezy. There's times like
I thought you were talking about Ian Rappaport.
No, I'm only joking. I mean, I think Lil Wayne's pretty. He's a good rapper. I don't think he's the king,
Right.
but he's pretty good. But anyway, I know like when Aaron Rodgers was playing, he was like, when he had his up and down season this year, he was like, "Oh, we should have traded away 12." He's like, "Oh, and they're doing good." He's like, "Never mind."
Wait a minute. No, it
Hold on,
definitely
wait a minute.
was. It definitely was an up and down season for them last year to be in a position in the last week of the season to clinch a playoff spot, and they really hyped it up like they were going to do it. Aaron was like at home against the Lions. He was like, "You got to be kidding me! We're in the
I know.
playoffs!" Like,
I
and
know.
then the Lions came out. Speaking of which, I'm so excited to see them this year.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's really got that team turned around. I think Aiden Hutchinson only continues to develop. Amara St. Brown's turning into a superstar. Um, and I think we all secretly know that Jared Goff has like got some talent. I mean,
Oh, he's a first
he
round pick.
he took the Rams to a Super Bowl. He's
Yeah.
he's a talented quarterback. In my opinion, I feel like he's like somewhat Daniel Jones-esque. Like everyone just kind of like keeps him in the back of the mind as like they write him off. He's not a good quarterback. But
Yeah.
like he has flashes. Now Daniel Jones a lot less flashes than
Yeah.
Jared
Yeah.
Goff,
Yeah.
but like I feel like he's a good quarterback. So I'm excited for the Lions
Did
this
you see
year.
that behind the back that handoff in the versus the Vikings?
Yes, yes. So I'm telling you, we got that. That'll be a good team.
Yeah.
Who knows who they pick up? Um,
Yeah, that would be interesting.
but there's a lot of moves going on. Needless to say, for this week in free agency starting on Monday, um, get your popcorn ready because it's about to be a wild ride. I feel like in free agency.
Yeah, and excuse me, especially with a few of the wide receivers I've been let go. Um, recent you had Allen Robinson, as
Adam
well
Thielen,
as Adam Thielen, a lot of A names. You got Juju out there, who was going to be the biggest name. I mean, he still kind of is, but it's a mixture of mediocre wide receivers out there. Um,
100%.
that will definitely, bring some life to some teams. One
D Hop
candidate,
is
yeah, D Hop will definitely be traded. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna give it an 85, uh, whatever the rest is.
85-15.
85,
Um,
15.
no,
Um,
yeah,
on
but
that.
go on. So your candidate for Juju, who you got?
Oh, I saw something interesting, which I think would be great, and I don't think it would happen. I think D Hop should go to Kansas City.
D Hop to go to Kansas City.
I think D Hop should go to Kansas
That's
City.
a strong take. I don't know if they have I don't know how much cap room they have to play
They
with
don't have a
because
lot.
yeah, they have to who knows if they're re-signing Orlando Brown Jr. So
Yeah,
he's gonna be due a big payday,
they didn't
especially
franchise
if he
him.
plays on the tag. Um and then I saw D Hop was linked a lot to the Cowboys, to the Cowboys, to the Cowboys, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
the Cowboys restructured Dak and Zach Martin and they open up like I think it was like $30 million worth of cap space. So it
Oh
like
wow.
D Hop slides. I just saw that. So, D Hop, as disgusting as it sounds like
Yeah.
he might be heading to the Cowboys, which
I could see that happening.
for their receiving core, that would be insane. You have Michael Gallup next to D Hop, next to CD Lamb. I mean, that might even make Dak Prescott look good.
I honestly, D Hop as a more possession guy, and then CD Lamb as a big play guy will
100%.
definitely be something to see. And then we'll get back to some more free agency moves. We're gonna take a quick break. Uh,
Definitely. Grab a
grab
pib
that
extra.
grab that pip extra, grab that popcorn. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you got that extra pib.
I mean,
Oh,
if you went to 8 different stores, you might. Seriously, Coca-Cola, Maryland, get it going.
pib sponsor us.
Please.
um, where we left off, we were talking about D Hop, and some other wide receivers. We're saying D Hop to most likely the Cowboys. I always thought Ravens was a choice.
And from
Um,
what I heard recently too, like apparently we were really close with him. I sent you that article from CBS
yeah,
Sports that we were really close to him. Um, I don't know if that's a ploy to keep Lamar, but I guess
yeah,
we'll see. I mean, Lamar can't talk to any other team until Wednesday. And as every day goes on, more and more teams are pulling out of the Lamar sweepstakes. And that's not because Lamar isn't an NFL MVP who, is definitely one of the better players at the moment right now, but more so a lot of teams know that the Ravens want Lamar for the long
of
term, and
course,
they don't want to do the Ravens work for them, which I get that. And Ian Rappaport keeps making a good point. The Ravens have 5 days to respond to it. So, if they wanted to, the Ravens could really sabotage a team. So, like, let's say the Falcons go in and make an offer that the Ravens don't really want to match. Well, the Ravens can take the full 5 days and then be like, no. And now you've prevented the Falcons from signing anyone else for 5 days because they have so
that's
much money
true.
set aside for Lamar. So it's really like, they're letting the market determine Lamar's price, which in my opinion is fair. I could be wrong, but I feel like, we put this I put this in the notes to talk about, you know, the NFL, the MLB is a big, big guaranteed money sport.
Yeah,
And I think the NFL is slowly becoming more guaranteed money. And I don't disagree that a certain portion of contracts definitely should be guaranteed.
yeah,
I do think I do kind of shy away from fully guaranteed contracts because just like anyone else, I mean, like there's so many different things that go into it. But at the end of the day, like for you, you pay into at your jobs, you pay into short-term disability, long-term disability, you pay into programs to where if you get hurt, you still get paid. And I feel like the NFL should maybe do something similar, like rather than fully guaranteed contracts, because getting hurt, granted, I'm not putting my body in the line for mortgages every day,
oh,
but
of
like at the same time, you're playing a game. You're a
course,
game that hundreds of thousands of people would love to play for a
yeah.
living, and you're getting to do it. You know, they do put a lot of work in. It's not easy, as people think it is, but like I just don't know if fully guaranteed is the way, and I'd love to know your thoughts on it.
I agree. I think sometimes it overvalues, especially in a market, overvalues people. And if you think about it, like years ago, a lot of these contracts wouldn't be a thing. Back in the
100%.
day, it was like you were getting thousands of dollars, Like
Right.
even still now, like the NFL has to like at least those players have to realize they're getting paid a lot more than a lot of other professional athletes. Um, they're still like within like the disparity of like lacrosse. They get paid like depending, and this is not including sponsorships, like upwards of like maybe 30 to 40,000 a
100%.
season. And
Yeah.
that's just normal. That's like, a slightly like that's like an average salary, slightly
Right.
below, and sure they get stuff from sponsors and stuff, but it's nowhere near what an NFL player is getting.
No, it's
Even a
not.
backup, you
No,
know?
100%. I think the biggest league that I look towards is probably the NHL. So I would argue in the NHL, you are putting your body on the line just as much. I mean,
Yeah.
hitting, you're not hitting every play in the NHL, but there's a lot of hits in the NHL. There's fights, there's a puck, which is if you have not held a puck in your life, it is
Oh,
way more heavy and solid than you would ever think. Like you're like,
yeah.
holy crap. So like they're throwing around pucks at 100+ mile an hour. Like John Carlson already this year had part of his earlobe detached because a
Oof.
puck hit him in the ear. Like, and those NHL players make crumbs,
Yeah.
crumbs compared to NFL players. And I feel like they go through the same stuff. They're paying for their own health insurance. They don't have many benefits. Like I feel like the NFL is getting a little too spoiled in a way.
I agree.
And I'm all for player safety, like the concussions, all that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. As I definitely think that they should be investing as much money as they can into helmets and into better protection and all that kind of stuff. But at some point, you signed up for this. At some
Yeah.
point, you said, this is my career. This is what I want to do. So it's not like you just like have to do this. You didn't go to Ohio State, get drafted number one, and then you went, well, I guess I have to do this. Like you
Yeah.
could have finished at Ohio State, gotten a degree, and gone and done something else. You are
Yeah.
here because you wanted to be here and you have the talent to be here. And
Yeah.
you're going to get paid handsomely to do so. But there's going to be a cost to that pay. Like back when they were talking about taking kickoffs out of the game, like I,
Yeah.
as much as I feel like, yeah, sure, kickoffs are dangerous. There's grown men running down the field. They're going to collide, like kickoffs are such a big portion of the game, like kickoff returns and things like that. When a touchdown from
Yeah.
a kickoff return happens, it ignites a stadium. Like I just feel like it's at some point the players have to take responsibility for what they signed up for as well.
No, that's agreed. I mean, if you think about boxing, you know,
Right.
you go into boxing knowing, or especially MMA, you're getting beat the shit out of. And like a
Literally.
lot of times you're going head blows to head blows to head blows,
Yep.
and you went into it knowing that's what you want to do.
Right.
And to your point with the football, and this was a decision for me like a while ago. Like when I did my freshman year of football versus and then playing lacrosse, I thought about my future. Like I really wanted to play lacrosse.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I had coaches that really wanted me to play football. Not that I didn't want to or that I couldn't, but
Sure.
I thought about it like opportunity wise, there's a greater opportunity probably for lacrosse because there's less people. Sure, there may be not as many
100%.
schools, but we're in Maryland, there's a lot more
A lot of
growth.
recognition. Yeah.
Yeah. And sure, the league isn't there, but I don't think I'm good enough to be a football player to make it to one of the thousands of schools and one of the thousands of recruits. And, like a lot of that comes down to luck, skill, determination, and all that. And kudos to them for getting to that point, and, deciding that's what they want to do. But
Yeah.
they also have to realize like you're blessed to be in that role, because there's thousands of other guys behind you that also want what you have.
100%. There are people on the streets that would take a quarter of the money that you're taking to play the same game that you're playing.
Yeah.
Granted, they know they're not as good as you, but like they want to just play football for a living. Who wouldn't? I mean, it sounds like
Yeah.
fun. I mean,
I mean,
again, there's a lot that goes into it, but
yeah. RG3, if he could take, I'm sure if he could take anything back to not get injured and to even if he did get injured or like take the time to rehab, he'd be a totally different person now. He could still
100%.
be playing. He could still be doing stuff. And that's just kind of that guy behind you, like for
Right.
all those quarterbacks after him, that went to the Redskins or anywhere else as a first round, or first or second overall pick, and
Sure.
I don't know. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you know, I I want to like it's either about the money or it's about playing the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's a two-way street. So like the way I look at it, a lot of the times the NFL players will cry, wolf, like if I get injured, my career is over and then I'm done for like what am I going to do after that? And it's like, dude, so I fully agree with you. Like there should be a program where NFL players can keep on track to get their degree because a lot of NFL players leave to declare for the draft before getting their degree.
Of course.
But the flip side of that, those players are also going to those schools for free because
Yeah.
they're on scholarship.
Scholarship.
Like, me and you come out of school and we've got thousands of dollars in student loans that we've got to pay back for a degree that I'm not even using. I mean, I guess I'm using it somewhat, but
Yeah.
like these guys not only were going to school for free and are now getting paid millions of dollars, but then you want to turn around and cry wolf that you didn't have the opportunity. Like you could have finished out your degree. You chose to take this.
Yeah. John Wall actually, while he was playing, he decided to finish his degree.
Exactly. And I think that's smart. I think it's smart to have a backup. If you do hurt your leg, that you have a degree in finance, you can get into something else. Like, I don't disagree that there should, just like veterans when they come home, there needs to be opportunities after the fact, like after a player gets injured, after a veteran gets home from war, there needs to be opportunities there. But for NFL players, you need to put yourself in that opportunity. You can't just
Yeah.
expect it to come to you, because everybody else has to put themselves in those positions, show up to the interviews, do the hard work. And again, we're not saying you don't do hard work. You go to practice 4 days, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You're
No, they
studying
train hard.
film. Like your job is your job, but I think at some point too, you are getting paid very handsomely for that job. Like,
There was I was quick note to that. There was Josh Hart of the Brooklyn Nets who recently got traded there. He there's to this same exact quote. He was or what you're saying is shoot, I forget. But he was basically saying like, I think there's like guys who are fooling around or whatever, and he's like or something about that. And he was like saying, like we need to realize that we're blessed. We're coming out here to play the game. We have to
right.
focus up, and there's people out here working 12-hour shifts, and we're out here, playing a game, and
I
he's
think
like
I saw it. Yeah, he was like, the
perspective. Yeah.
reporters asked him if he was tired after like playing like 2 nights in a
Oh
row.
yeah.
And he was like, I'm not tired. He's like, there are
Yeah.
people working 12-hour shifts that are tired.
Yeah.
And I feel that. I mean, that's true. I mean, you look at like, I think it gives them such an opportunity. And I think, it's hard to make it in the NFL, but at the same time, like, I'd love to see the players that like a breakdown, like a chart that shows like the players that go first round and make it into the Hall of Fame, and the players that go fourth, like the fourth round or beyond and make it to the Hall of Fame, because it seems to me like it's always those late round picks. Brock
Mm-hmm.
Purdy probably had the best rookie quarterback season that a rookie quarterback has had in a long
In a long
time,
time.
and got this much recognition for it. He's
So
got
close to a Super
CMC in
Bowl.
the backfield. He's got
Yeah.
Debo Samuel. I get it. He's got a team around him. It might not have been all Brock Purdy, but to step up in the NFL in that big of a scenario, you still got to make the throws.
You still
So
have to make the throws. You still have to do a lot of the work. I mean, he made some good throws,
he
you
did.
know, and he still went out there after he had, his hand got torn up, you
Right.
know, and still tried. And he got a lot of respect from his guys, Kittle, CMC, his coach. So I mean,
100%.
kudos to that guy,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, I don't know. It's a tricky landscape, especially with the whole like professional athlete kind of aspect into it.
100%.
Um, between these guys who make millions, especially with like baseball, they make tons of money, and
Right. Oh yeah.
they don't. In personal opinion, I don't think they do a whole lot. Same thing with golf. Same thing with golf.
I so I am I'm in an industry of golfers, and I am not a big golfer myself. I never have been. I don't know if I will be. Like, I am in an industry of golfers. Everybody in the finance/mortgage industry is into golfing.
Yeah.
And I will agree with you. It's like they play a tournament like every couple months
Yeah.
for hundreds of millions, millions of dollars. I will say golf seems like a very tough sport to play. Like,
Oh
to
yeah.
be able to have the act, like the skill level in golf is
The skill
far
level.
superior to other sports, in my opinion. But with that being said, you're not going home mentally drained. You're like,
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of golfers love what they do. They
Hmm.
love doing it, and they get paid handsomely. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely a sport where, like, at least with baseball, they're taking out like 3/4 of their year to do this, because there's so
Yeah,
many
they do
different
play a
years.
lot of
There's
games.
so much going on. Like, baseball takes a lot more commitment, in my opinion.
Yes.
But it's definitely like, I don't know. But speaking of which, though, professional athletes, it seems to me that the first thing professional athletes do when they get their new contract, or they sign their contract, it seems to me that they always buy a new car. Like,
Mm.
you always see like Justin Jefferson pulling up in a McLaren to US Bank
I
Stadium, or like, you see like all these when Joe Flacco won Super Bowl MVP, what did they give him? They gave him a Camaro. Like, you always see, it seems like professional athletes get the cars. So that takes me to my next point. Cars nowadays seem to be, the initial quality of a car is so nice. Like, you're like, yeah, oh my God, it's got this feature where if you run over a small child, it'll actually rewind time and bring back the small child. And like, the features in a car nowadays are absolutely insane. But
They're
do you,
nuts.
like our cars nowadays, do you think that they're turning into like iPhones where when you first get on it's great for 2 or 3 years and then it's like, it shits out. Like I know for you, you have a decently old Mercedes that is treating you good and it's treated you good for a long time. I know it
Yeah,
has had a little trouble recently, but
yeah.
for a car from 2001, that's a 22-year-old car, right?
Oh three
Oh,
and yeah.
three. Okay. So a
So yeah, so
20-year-old
it's
car.
20-year-old car.
And that thing still, and mind you, it's made out
Still
of
kicking.
metal, so it could rust. It could
Yeah.
like the quality I feel like of cars is just going down the gutter. And I feel like, you know, the initial quality of cars is amazing. Like
Yeah.
seems like Kias and Hyundais are really like taking off. But it seems like long-term quality, it's yet to be seen, but I feel like long-term quality on cars is going to be, a big problem.
Well, yeah, and being around like I, my dad is 52
Yeah, you
currently,
didn't have to
and
do Mr. Keller like that. Okay.
no, I'll put him out. And all of his siblings are much older than him. His oldest sibling is like 70. Oof, I'm gonna say 3, 4.
Okay.
Um, so and a lot of disparity in between. So there's a lot of older generation guys. And if you ever talk about cars with them, if you ever get into it, like if you're like having some drinks and we talk about some cars or whatever, they're gonna
Right.
talk about like the old quality of cars. Like they're just like big metal boxes. Like they're saying
Right.
like you could basically just like if you were to ram into someone, you're fine. you know, it's just like the amount of quality and metal that went into it is so much better.
Oh yeah.
Um, so like nowadays everything's made out a lot more lighter, compact, um, quality of like plastic or fiber or like carbon fiber or
Fiberglass.
whatever.
Yeah, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Um, One to make it lighter, two for manufacturing costs, three for however it works for like the technology because there's a lot more technology in cars,
A hundred
for
percent.
that reason.
Yeah.
Um, so especially with like these electric cars,
Right.
there's 90% of it is just like tech, you know,
Yeah.
and the other 10% is just like kind of an outshell of a car, you know.
You have a drivable tablet. Like a Tesla
Yeah,
is like a drivable iPad, I feel like
no, it really is.
the fun fact is that it can drive itself. So like
Yeah.
you bought an iPad and it's like, oh, by the way, you can sit on me and you can drive.
I will say I do love all the features with it. Like you can have like the like at least on the SUV one, the wing like the wing doors go up and down,
Oh yeah.
flashlights and music and stuff like that. And I love the idea of trunks.
I
The
love the
need
idea of the custom horns on Teslas. That
Yes,
cracks me up.
they're great. Like you can get a nice meme horn. It's like what the fuck, now?
When somebody cuts you off on the highway.
Bitch, what the fuck?
I love that.
Someone's crossing the street. And they're like, bitch, what the fuck? You're like, what?
Get out the
um,
way.
Move, bitch, get out the way. Like, get out. Um, like, yeah, I don't know why people don't do more of that, but and to that same point, which my biggest thing is you won't have to worry about coolant, oil, a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff with electric cars, which I think is a great benefit to that. Lower emission footprint. But I talk to my uncle a lot because he asked me about electric cars and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and he gives me his points back and some of the points, and like this, he tells me about like this one guy who had a Tesla for a while, because they've been out for a few years, or several years now, and
Right.
if the battery goes on it, like any battery will, the guy had to, it went on him, can't drive the car,
Right.
and he says that he had to pay 20,000,
I was about
to
to say
get
I
the
saw
car.
the viral
Yeah,
tweet or of like the bill and it's exorbitant.
yeah. And it's like I guess, why not just get another car at that point? But and that's the thing, like uh in my mind, it's one of those learning curves because at some point we didn't have cars. You know,
Yeah,
we went from horses to cars, and I'm sure people were
pretty big
scared.
upgrade.
I know. We went from horses to cars.
Like they took the horse, they shoved him in an engine, and they were like, "There's horsepower in here."
We put little tiny horses in here. We put little ponies in here. Oh, pony
Run!
power.
Right.
Run, pony, run.
No, I mean, I, go on. It's a big fact. It's a big fact.
It's a learning curve, and, like this is the next step in car,
Yeah.
because you went from horses to, automotive cars. And obviously, there's a lot of people who were scared, didn't know anything about it. They only went so fast. You had to, I'm sure at that point, you probably had to fill up oil and everything like that a ton more than you
Oh,
have
I'm
to do
sure.
now. And then now we're going from, you know, this car that's been established for, gosh, over 100 years,
Yeah.
120 some years at this point. We've made a new one every year, perfected the style, the craft, whatever.
Yeah.
Tons of car companies. Now everyone's getting into electric cars. It's the next
Right.
big step in car because it's
Definitely.
technically it's a car, but it's not an automotive car.
Sure. Sure. It's definitely a different realm. I will say, some of my buddies at PRMI were talking about a podcast recently, and I didn't watch it myself, but Joe Rogan had a podcast recently, and what they were telling me about it is that it was a really like deep podcast because they were talking about how like the advancements of like the United States and of technology, like in between like 1960 and 2000. I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
every couple years they were like making major breakthroughs and finding, every time a new Intel chip came out, people were like flocking to the stores and
Yep.
like things like that. And I feel like if you look at the past, like, and maybe COVID has a huge part to play in this, but if you look over the past like decade, I feel like we've really just been like stagnant. Like of course with electric cars, that's a whole new like that's our next level, that's our next realm. But I feel like when it comes to like technology as a whole, Joe Rogan was like, where are our engineers? Where are our scientists? And I kind of agree with that. It seems like our innovation has kind of like leveled off. Like I feel like at some point, where do we start looking? A while back they started talking about like ethanol fuel, which is corn oil and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's like where do the advancements come in? So how as a society have we not found a really clean but really efficient way to power a car? Like I've always joked with our buddy Zach, like in my opinion, one of the smartest things you could ever do is put like solar panels on top of a car
Oh, of course. Yeah.
and like or like and then on instead like the solar panels have like wind turbines on the back of your car so while you're driving you're collecting like what I mean, like I obviously that's not doable. That it would be crazy to see a car with like wind turbines and like solar
I,
panels, but, like
I
you
think
know what I
more
mean.
plausible would be like in the grill, you
Yeah.
know, easily. Once technology, because I mean we do have solar panels so small. Like we have some that can, like they're small,
Right.
and you can put them in the roofs and stuff like that of cars, and maybe once we condense the power of how much electricity we can turn into, that'd be very plausible to have solar panel roofs in your car and wind turbines that generate electricity from driving,
Right.
in the front of your grill. Which I don't think is totally out of the realm. And I totally agree with your point, and I think it's because of society we have valued um social media and uh like this whole motif of fame and uh like this, and it's great to be creative, but
Right.
the output we're putting it in is totally different than what we should. And
Yeah.
like we're not, and what's the reason why we're not seeing as many, engineers and stuff like that is because the creativity is not going there. It's
Right.
going towards, going online, going to tech, because, and to some great extent, because like, there's people out there like the, was it, some of those TikTokers, they're making tons of money
Oh my
for,
gosh.
for dancing. And
Dancing.
why wouldn't I want to do that, you know?
Honestly,
Versus
why would
going
you
to
want to go?
school.
Why do you want to go to Yale when you can just hit the
Yeah.
Gwitty on TikTok and you
What are we
know,
quitting on TikTok to make tons of money?
like, and it's everywhere. Like even we had touched on the Megan movie. In the Megan movie, she like does dances with the dolls, and in the
Yeah.
movie, like Megan, the doll, does a dance before she kills someone, and it's like it's just like what is going on here? So it that the dance in that movie actually was a viral TikTok trend for a while too. But
Really?
Addison and the Ray family set for life
Yeah.
because they got famous, they got a couple sponsorships, and boom, 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 boom. Like it's totally true. The risk reward in this society is very the smartest people aren't rewarded the most anymore, which is
Yeah.
it's a shame.
It is. And, it's hard to dispute going to one side versus another when it's so much easier.
100%.
Or could be. I'm not saying it's totally easy just to go viral off of TikTok or YouTube or anything like that anymore because it is very saturated, but it's
100%.
also a lot easier than, paying tons of money and going to school to learn to become something that you may want to do, but it's troubling,
Sure.
and everything like that. We talked about, maybe NFL players should start, paying for people's schools or something like that, or
You
maybe
see,
athletes should start paying back to give back to people.
Juju is onto something with his TikTok. When he gets out of the NFL, he's like, all right,
Yeah, he's
I
like,
got this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
Kansas
what it
City doesn't
is.
want me anymore. Okay, I'll go to the
Word.
next.
Yeah. Like,
uh, hold up, you didn't resign me.
be in the negotiation room, hitting.
Like, oh, I'm a free agent. It's like, so Raven, do you want me?
Yeah. Did Fortnite start this? Did Fortnite start TikTok dances? Did the original dance moves, did that, did maybe that's what, I don't know. Maybe that's what started it all. I
I
can't
don't
remember if that was
know.
pre-TikTok or post-TikTok.
It it was definitely before TikTok, but before TikTok there was what what was TikTok was Musically,
Right.
and then before that was Vine.
Right.
Vine was different, but Musically was the cringier TikTok. With all those like I don't know weird edits and
Yeah,
people yeah. Um, I know some few people got big off Musically, but
100%. But
but you know
on the brighter side of things, there is a alarming surge of Raising Cane's in Maryland.
really
There's a now a 5 Bojangles are moving into Maryland. We're seeing a lot of chain restaurants that were primarily southern western expand
Southern, yeah.
and vice versa. So it's only a matter of time before In and Out comes over, I feel like.
Yeah,
But
actually, I've heard that it's going to come to the East Coast.
which I don't know if you ever know why they didn't come to the East Coast, but it's interesting that they finally have said, you know what, the bag is worth it because
East Coast better.
it is. The story behind it, and I have no idea if this is true. This is all word of mouth.
Yeah.
Buddy told me that the In and Out CEO flew from the West Coast to the East Coast to talk about expanding a long time ago. The
Hmm.
plane crashed, he died, and the family was like, "We're not going east. It's bad juju."
Oh,
So I mean, I guess the bag is finally good enough for them to be like, you know what, we're going east.
yeah.
So I
Damn.
think it's awful that happened, but it's such an interesting concept. Like people really do, I believe in karma. So I try to do
Yeah.
things, by the book because I feel like it'll come back around. I would like to say to the little shit that was in the Perry Hall Aldi parking lot that door dinged my Honda Passport yesterday.
Fuck you, buddy.
Literally, I am so angry. So man, we got out of the car yesterday and Amanda was like, and I was like, what? And we go to check my passenger side door and there's some white paint there. I thought it was bird poop. So I take a wipe, I'm wiping it off and the paint comes off, but there's a dent there. And literally, I'm thinking back to when we were shopping and there was a little shit who opened up his door, and then I saw his dad like come up and like grab the door and like help him out. And I thought that was a little weird, but you know, he's a kid. I was like, oh, the dad's just helping. Nah, dude, that dad saw what that kid did and let it happen. Didn't tell me. I got home. I have now got a door ding and a dent in my car. I don't know, man.
I funny story alert.
Funny story alert.
um, I this happened a very long time ago, and I don't necessarily remember all that happened, but I do
Right.
remember it happening, and I don't know what happened afterwards. But there's one time, and my mom was driving, and I was so young. I think at that point, I think I sat in the back seat. Um,
Okay.
but we went to this parking lot, and it was like outside of like this. It was like a combo, Panera and Five Guys. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, interesting combo.
Very
Um,
interesting.
yeah, but we parked, and maybe I don't know. I thought there was no one there, or maybe I don't know. I just assumed, but I opened my door, and then a car comes in and parks, and it literally just scrapes the entire car.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure I checked, but if I didn't, I guess I assumed. But
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. My thing is like I try not to park right next to a ton of cars.
Agreed.
I'm not trying to necessarily defend myself, but I'm going to defend myself. Uh, um, especially if a car just parked there. I don't know if they just saw me or whatever, but it had to been pretty soon afterwards. But I opened my door and it just and
Oh,
I remember they were pissed. And I think my mom was I don't know. I don't know if my mom was necessarily pissed at me. She probably was pissed at me, but um yeah, I don't remember what happened afterwards. If they're like,
right.
hey, whatever, didn't know, or like because like the points I made,
Yeah.
or whatever. But it happened.
You know, I just think like for as much money as we spend on cars, you would think there would be a little bit more give
Yeah.
to them. Like, you know, like I 2 weeks ago I drove past there's a road near my house where if two cars are going on it, basically one car has got to be like almost like in the dirt, you know, to like let them pass. So it's like a tight
Uh-huh.
road. Well, it's not a tight road because it's dirt, but it's a tight road because there's like shrubbery, and that shrubbery is overgrown. So there's a lot of like sticks that hang over. So there one night I'm heading back home from work and I have to go to the right hand side to let this other car pass because normally you like ride in the middle of that road. And a tree branch literally scratched my car from front to back.
Oh.
So like one of the overhanging tree branches just and most of the scratch like buffed out with like a microfiber cloth, but there's still like a decent amount of the scratch that you can see. And it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, for a car that I spent $33,500 on, a
Yeah.
tree branch just put a permanent mark on my car. Like it's just crazy. I cannot stand how easily cars and how like
Build quality.
yeah, and people don't give a crap. Like people
They don't.
people scratch your car, ding your car, and then they're just like, well, peace. So, you know,
See ya.
tough. As
I
Tyreek
will.
Hill would say.
um. For one fast food, I would like to see move into more of Maryland would be Cookout.
Ah, yes, I know. You were a big cookout fan in Salisbury. A couple
Yeah.
of my buddies from work have told me that that is very worth it and should expand more.
Oh my
So,
God. You can get they have it used to be cheaper when I first went there, but um of recent when I last had it, it was like seven something, maybe $8, and you get uh uh the main course, which is like a burger. And this is a tray, and you build your own
yeah, yeah.
tray.
Yeah,
So
okay.
either get a burger, a double burger, corn dog, hot dogs, quesadilla, chicken tenders, or whatever.
Damn.
Main course, two sides, and a drink.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I mean, for the
yeah,
price of food right now, like McDonald's, it's like $10 for a 10-piece meal. Like that's a deal right now. So
it's a real deal because yeah, you can spend $9, $10, $11 for a burger and fries, and then I'm getting a double burger with what I want, which is I usually go, can I get a double burger, a big double burger with
Oh,
a
let me
big
get
double burger?
a.
Can I get a big double burger with lettuce, grilled onions, cheese, tomatoes, ketchup, uh,
Okay.
stuff like that, and then I'll get fries, or
Ooh,
I'll get either I usually like getting cheese curds, or
okay.
instead sometimes I'll get fuck um not that I don't get that
Cookout or a happy ending? I don't know.
oh, a cheese quesadilla.
A cheese
uh
quesadilla. Okay.
yeah, either get a cheese chicken or burger quesadilla, stuff like that, and they have cheer wine. I love cheer wine.
Okay.
Yeah, as a drink, or sweet tea.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. Birch beer. I'm obviously a big Pib Extra fan. Only
Yeah,
can
pib
find it
extra.
at like Chipotle and shit. Um, no, I think food can change the whole day. Like getting your
No,
food,
for sure.
like when you go through Taco Bell, if it's like hot, good, and it's everything you ordered and it's right,
Yeah.
makes you so happy. But man, if they put sour cream on something that wasn't supposed to have, you're like
Ooh.
you're like God, you're like throwing a fit in your car. You're like, no, I gotta go. Most people don't go back. I go back. I'm like, this wasn't supposed to have sour cream on it, and then they're like, oh, here you go. You spit
See,
in this one.
I love sour cream. I could put on anything.
Apollo.
uh,
Oh,
put in the comments, if anyone wants to, of what fast food restaurant you would like to see expand into
100%.
more.
And what fast food restaurant you're most excited for. So if In-N-Out is coming
Yeah,
east, are you excited for In-N-Out? Are you excited about Raising Cane's opening up a lot more locations? Are you excited for Bojangles?
yeah,
Um, what are you looking forward to?
yeah. Tell us in the comments, please.
Please.
um, well, I think this will be a good wrapping up here for episode 3.
Definitely.
Anything you want to tell to the listeners, Zach?
Um, well, number one, Pi Day, 2 days from now. Big
Oh
Joshua
yeah,
Keller's birthday over here. So wish him a happy birthday on Pi Day.
P5.
He does share a birthday with Justin Bieber, kind of sus. And Homebuyer Seminar, still March 21st, 6 to 8 p.m., Looney's Pub, Perry Hall. So that's what I got for the boys and the girls, and the they thems, and
And yes, and all
everybody
the
else,
dogs, the
and all the
cats.
dogs, the cats. What do you got for them, Josh?
Stay safe out there. St. Patrick's Day coming up. Drink responsibly. Um, have a good time though.
Definitely.
See family, friends. But yeah, everyone, please, follow the socials, like, comment to keep up with us. We like to see engagement and everything like that. So just, hit us up in the comments.
Hit us up.
All
Happy
right.
St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Stay scrappy, Ragtag.
Stay scrappy.